There we go. Hey, everybody. This is Jarrod Albrick, the yard sale artist here, back with another mail call episode. I know I did one just the other day, but I got some more cool stuff in the mail. So, we got to talk about it. This is the dumbest thing. I'll explain. I'll explain myself here in a minute. I want to welcome you all to another Longbox Crusade live stream mail call. Again, my name is Jarrod, and I have a package here, a pretty big, hefty package. I ordered. It's gonna get ridiculous. I guarantee you. I ordered from shopgoodwill.com a couple weeks ago, and it showed up yesterday. And if you see the title of this one, you already know what's in this box. These are James Bond movies on VHS. And I'm laughing because on my second screen here, I have a spreadsheet, an online spreadsheet to track all my James Bond movies on VHS because I collect James Bond movies on VHS. And I don't mean I just like try to collect all of them. I mean, I buy every James Bond movie on VHS that I see as long as its price point is $3 or less. And I want to say hi to Bionic Bruh, who just jumped into the chat and said Sean Connery, Roger Moore every day. I'm hoping. I bought a bundle of movies, I think, and we'll know in a minute when I open this box. I think I bought 16 movies, Bond on VHS from shopgoodwill.com for $24. So it did fall under my $3 or less price point. And normally, my normal rules, I have to find them in the wild, but because it fell so far under that price point of $3 or less, I think it was $24 for 16 of them. And it was on, they do a thing on Shop Goodwill called penny shipping. I mean, it's basically free shipping, but they charge you a penny for shipping. So I was like, man, $24 shipped for 16 movies. I'm adding them to my collection. So what I'm going to do is open this box. We're going to go through these VHS tapes together. Bionic Bruh, I love your enthusiasm in the chat, my friend. Be sure to sound off with how you feel about some of these movies, because I'll be more than happy to talk about these Bond movies with you. For, most of you who are here kind of already know that not only do I do Longbox Crusade stuff, but I am producer and host over it on Her Majesty's Secret podcast. So we talk a lot of Bond stuff over there, and I'm thrilled. So anyway, I collect James Bond on VHS, and like I said before, I'm not just trying to get all of them. I just buy as many as I can find at $3 or less price point. And I've been doing that for about 2 years. With my handy spreadsheet that I have just here on my other monitor, I can tell you right now that I currently own 142 VHS tapes of James Bond material. So that's going to be plus 16. So we're going to be at 158 by the time this is done. I think it's 16. Let's find out who's getting added. And if you have any questions about my collection, most common one being, which one do you have the most copies of? You know what? I'll answer that right now. Before we open this box, right now I have 13 copies of GoldenEye as my number one. Right behind it is Thunderball with 12 and Goldfinger with 11. So I'm opening the box. Ironic that I'm wearing my Never Forget VHS shirt today. Did not plan that. Just happened. So let's see what we're going to pull out of this box. Again, I know how ridiculous it is. And I have, those sort of faux wood grain drawers that were very popular in the 80s that you put your VHS tapes in, you pull them out. Like I have, I don't know, 8 of those full of VHS tapes out in my man cave building. That's so I do collect Bond. I also on VHS. I also collect Batman on VHS and Ninja Turtles on VHS. Batman, Ninja Turtle, Bonds I've been doing for about 2 years. Batman and Turtles I've been doing for about a year. They're a little hard to find, but I found some cool stuff there. Bionic Bruh says, yeah, his dad had one of those for his Cops collection. Cops, man. We're talking about the live action TV show Cops, or the animated cartoon. Because I actually have an animated cartoon Cops VHS tape that I just bought when I was at Tallahassee Infinity Con this past summer. There was a dude selling old VHS tapes about like Captain Power from him and Cops. He was selling for like $1 a piece or something. But okay, yeah. So Bionic Bros talking about his dad had the live TV show. I love it. I love it, dude. All right, the box is open. I'm going to do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I was right. So 16 for $24. This was getting added to my collection. We will start with the man with the golden guns. And Roger Moore goodness right there. First thing we're going to do. I want you to get a little AMSR. You guys want to hear VHS tape sounds? Open the little gate. Close it back. There you go. That's for you. Was someone kind and did they rewind? Yes, this is a rewound tape. That's a good omen right there. Rewound tape. So, man with the golden gun, a little dusty, but hey, I'm not mad about it. They did, a few different versions. All of these look like they're from the same series. Because like the original tapes were the CBS Fox versions. These are the MGM versions, and these were one of the later ones. And then there was some in between there. One of my favorites was the ones that I think it was in between CBS Fox and here. I liked those as a kid because they had actual gold emboss on the case, and they usually also came with a Pink Panther cartoon before the movie, which was always fun. I always liked watching the Pink Panther cartoon for the movie, but that was the series before this series. So there we have it. The first one on the box. He has a powerful weapon. He charges $1 million a shot. Man with the golden gun. So because I am who I am, I'm going to update my spreadsheet. Man with the golden gun. I had 5 copies. That is now being updated to 6. And Bionic Bros comment on that one was that's where the comedy started getting a little iffy. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to fight you on that. One of my favorite things to say about Bond movies is there's a Bond movie for every mood you're in. And sometimes you want a lighter fare, Roger Moore. And yeah, Man with the Golden Gun is a great one to go to. And you're right, though. It's one of the wonkier ones. All right, going into the box. I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to pull one out. And it is my favorite Bond movie of all time. It is License to Kill. Look at those eyes. Look at those Timothy Dalton Wolf eyes right there, man. That is the jam. So I'm very happy with pulling a License to Kill. Again, it's my favorite one. Again, it is rewound. Timmy D's my favorite. This is my favorite of his. Say No More. Love me some License to Kill. Robert Davi, one of the best villains in the history of the franchise. I will be updating my spreadsheet. I had 6 copies of License to Kill. Now it is 7. And I'm going to agree with Bionic Bros, who said that Dalton got robbed with only 2 films. He was very good. I wish they hadn't had all those legal battles right after his second film. But c'est la vie. Fun fact about him is that, and I posted about this on X a few days ago, his final official appearance as James Bond was in the Sega Genesis game, James Bond 007, The Duel. And then the weird thing about that is Pierce Brosnan's last official appearance as James Bond would end up being in the video game Everything or Nothing. And then Sean Connery's last official appearance as James Bond would be in the video game From Russia with Love. And if things had gone the way they wanted, unfortunately, it didn't work out. A timing, schedule, contract, not sure. Roger Moore was slated to voice one of those EA games in the early 2000s, and it would have been his last appearance. But that one didn't work out. But it's still interesting that 3 of the Bonds have their last official appearance in a video game. Anyways, I'll get sidetracked, and this will be a 4-hour video if I'm not careful. But GoldenEye, the THX certified edition right there. Is it rewound? It is. Someone was kind. It is rewound. The movie that brought it all back Came out right after I graduated high school. Came out the summer of, or was it fall? Right before I started college, or right when I started college. Such a good movie. Really, really brought the franchise back with a bang. Love GoldenEye. And you're talking to the right guy here, Bionic Bra. I am deep into James Bond video game history. I did a 6.5 hour audio documentary of Bond and video games over on our network. And you are correct. They did do a GoldenEye reboot with Craig in the leading role in the video games. Speaking of GoldenEye, I had 13 copies. I now have 14 copies. I've updated the spreadsheet. But you are correct. They did a revise of that. It was originally a Wii exclusive, and then it ended up getting ported, I think, to like PS3 and all the systems. But it did start as a Wii exclusive. And yeah, you are correct. They did the same thing with the 007 Legends video game, which is, I've always thought it was quite clever. A lot of people don't like Legends, but I thought it was quite good. The whole concept is at the beginning of Skyfall, when he gets shot in the chest by Moneypenny and he's falling to, his doom. That's where the Legends picks up, and you play through Bond's memories. So you play through a memory of his from Goldfinger, and you play through a memory of his from Moonraker and Die Another Day and License to Kill. But it's always Craig as Bond instead of the others. And I thought that was wildly creative, but not a lot of people like that, but I did. Apparently he didn't like it either. He says, we don't talk. I liked Legends. I have no beef with Legends. But Bionic Bra also says that GoldenEye was his first dose of 007, and he's followed ever since. I get that story a lot. A lot of the people I know, this GoldenEye was their gateway to Bond. And it didn't hurt, since we're still talking about video games, it didn't hurt that this came out 95. The VHS tape comes out in 96. Then the N64 game, which is wildly successful, comes out in 97. So like GoldenEye had this real sort of, not only was it a great movie to welcome everybody in, but it sort of had this extra life. You get the cinema, you get the VHS, and then you get that game, which kind of rekindled the whole thing. So yeah, GoldenEye is a phenomenon in and of itself. All right, next one up. Tomorrow Never Dies. Tomorrow Never Dies on VHS. Yes, sir. Is it rewound? Yes, it is. I own like 4 rewinders, by the way. I also own, I think the current count is 17 VCRs. I got a problem. Anyway, Tomorrow Never Dies. Let me update the spreadsheet. So I guess I'll try to do a weird video game fact for as many of these as I can, since that's what I started doing on this live stream. I now have 10 copies of Tomorrow Never Dies, by the way. Tomorrow Never Dies. Let's talk about theme songs. It's my favorite little fun fact about Tomorrow Never Dies. Okay, so Sheryl Crow at kind of the last minute, about the 11th hour, got the nod for the theme song, right? We all know the Sheryl Crow song. And if you're a little deeper into Bond knowledge, you know that Katie Lang did a song called Surrender, which was originally going to be the theme song. In fact, a lot of the melodies of Surrender are worked into the score of the movie because they were making the score thinking that was going to be the song. They eventually went with Sheryl Crow. Katie Lang's version eventually gets put on the end credits. But here's the kicker. There's a third song. For those of you who played Tomorrow Never Dies, the PlayStation 1 game, one of the outstanding features of that game is its soundtrack. It's so good. It's a Tommy Tallarico soundtrack. It's so good that it got its own CD release. It's a little hard to find, but the Tomorrow Never Dies video game soundtrack had its own CD release, and it had a third Tomorrow Never Dies song on it. A sung vocal song. I'm going to try to remember the name of the gal who sang it. It's something Paiva. Elaine Paiva sings it. It's called Letters to Paris or Letters from Paris. Letters to, one of the two. You can look it up on YouTube. Letters to Paris or Letters from Paris. One of the two. By Elaine Paiva, and it's fantastic. It might be my favorite of the 3. Just putting that out there. All right, T&D. I now own 10 copies. All right, next up, coming out of the box, A View to a Kill. A little more Roger Moore action. Rewound. Absolutely. All right. Since we're doing video game factoids, I'll stick with it. View to a Kill got 2 video game releases. Both came out at almost the same time. One of them was by Domark. Domark would hold the license to make James Bond games, starting with A View to a Kill in 85, and then the last one they would make would be The Duel in 1993. So one of the games is a Domark game. And it's an interesting little game because it's kind of 3 different games in one. It's hard to come by. I think it was on the ZX Spectrum, maybe a couple other computers. I can't remember. But the other game was a text-based adventure. These were popular in the 80s into the early 90s, where you would read some text and then you'd type what you wanted to do. You know, if you type the right kind of keywords, then you could move the story forward. And that game was put out by a company called Angelsoft. And what's fascinating about that one, so not only did A View to a Kill get 2 games at the same time, but the text-based adventure was written by a then relatively unknown writer named Raymond Benson, who would end up writing 9 James Bond novels. He became the James Bond writer, the continuation novel writer for pretty much the Brosnan era. So he did some of the movie adaptations, and I think he wrote 6, 7 of his own originals. They're fantastic. I love them. But yeah, that's I'm just going to keep dropping stupid video game facts in with these VHS tapes. So I got to update A View to a Kill and then see what the folks in the chat had to say. I now own 6 copies of A View to a Kill. All right. My buddy Sean, who loves obscure and weird cinema as much as I do, said A View to a Kill was the first one he saw in the theater. Close for me. Octopussy was my first. View to a Kill was my second. I still live in the town, even though I'm an Army brat and I joined the military myself. So I've moved a lot. Somehow I ended up in the same town. I live in the same town right now. I could go right to the theater where I saw A View to a Kill in 1985. Second big screen experience for your boy, Jarrod. Yeah, Bionic Bruh says that on A View to a Kill, thought Moore was getting a little too old. You know who else thought Moore was getting a little too old? Roger Moore. For that one, but he still nailed it. Yeah, this is one of the ones I consider almost the purest Roger-tainment films. This is a go-to movie for me for when I'm not feeling well. I have these certain movies I like to watch when I like get down with the flu or whatever. This is one of them. I love it. I'm a huge Christopher Walken fan, so that helps. So yeah, View to a Kill is just a lot of fun and an amazingly successful soundtrack. Bionic Bros now depressing me by telling me he said he was born in 87. I kind of figured that when you said that GoldenEye was your intro. Octopussy was mine. I just missed Fear Eyes Only. Like I remember watching Fear Eyes Only a lot on HBO. And I was like, that was the one like this babysitter we had HBO. And so I would watch just Fear Eyes Only over and over and over again. Octopussy was the first time I got to the theater. Thanks for making me feel older than I normally do. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about 1983. I'm very pleased to have a copy of Never Say Never Again in here, since it's some call it a bastard Bond film because it's not an Eon Productions. It's a little harder to come by. In fact, looking at my spreadsheet, I only have 1 copy of it. So this is doubling my copies of Never Say Never Again. So now I have 2. I'm going to have some hot takes for you on this one, and I will bring it back to video games. First of all, I love this movie. I love it. To me, it is a top 10 James Bond movie. I'll give everybody a moment to soak that in. Yes, let's just get it out of the way. The soundtrack is its weakest link. The Michel Legrand soundtrack, I think it is. And it's not bad. Like, it's just not Barry, you know, and it's not Legrand's best work. It's serviceable. Let me run down, Jarrod, like as if I was a defense attorney for this movie. I'll run down why I love this one so much in as brief moment as I can. First of all, Connery himself. I think he looks better and is having more fun than he did in his final appearance at Eon with Diamonds Are Forever. I think he looks better. I think he's clearly having more fun. I think he's happy to be back to the role. So it starts with him. Then we're going to talk about Phantom of Blush, one of the top tier femme fatales the series has ever had. She's awesome. Kim Basinger, nothing wrong with that. This is, speaking of the two of them, Basinger and Connery, this is the only movie, I'll be careful how I phrase this, where Bond really shows off his ballroom dancing skills. Now, I know he dances with the girl in like Thunderball, uses her as a human shield, but like this is where he does proper dancing skills with Kim Basinger in that scene. So like this is the only time you get to see Bond like be extra, like, let me show you how much I know about ballroom dancing. So that's kind of cool. This one has Bernie Casey as Felix Leiter, and he's the most action-oriented Felix Leiter ever. So don't be duped when people say, oh, Jeffrey Wright, first African-American actor to play Felix Leiter. No, Bernie Casey was an action star in his own right. Bernie Casey is awesome in this. I think I remember one time, last time I watched it, I think I noticed that Bernie Casey, I think he actually kills more bad guys than Bond. I might be wrong, but I think he does. Great Felix. This is the only one that has a Q branch motorcycle, which is something we all wanted to see, especially as kids in the 80s. Awesome. I actually like Klaus Maria Brandauer's performance as Largo in this better than the Largo and Thunderball. Nothing wrong with the Largo and Thunderball, but I think the eye patch does a lot of heavy lifting there. I think his look really helps him, whereas I think Brandauer's performance is actually better. The pacing of this movie, because for those of you who don't know, which I'm not sure who that would be, this is a remake of Thunderball because Kevin McClory helped Fleming write it. Legal disputes. McClory gets rights to Thunderball, so this is a remake of Thunderball. I think the pacing of this movie is better paced than Thunderball. I'm not bagging on Thunderball, though. It's because that was the early days of underwater filming, which did get Thunderball an Academy Award. I think it might still be the only Academy Award in the Bond series for the underwater photography, but they loved it a lot, so they used it a lot, and it slows the pacing down. This is a better paced movie. So anyway, that's Jarrod's I Love Never Say Never Again. It's fun. It has that fun fact. It's got Mr. Bean in it. Anyway, I like this movie. How do I tie it into video games? This is the only movie where James Bond plays a video game. True story. All right, I've been rambling. What do people in the chat say? Are they ready to fight me? Or I got an angry look from Barbara. He did say that the damsels were on point. Yeah, the ladies in the Never Say Never Again, they're fantastic. Lots to like there. I give it a second shot. You know what? While we're doing 83, boom, let's do Octopussy. I never did check to see if those were rewound. It's clear to me that all of these, whoever owned these is a rewinder because they've all been rewound. All right, Octopussy, 1983, my first big screen Bond experience. My neighbors actually took me and my brother. My sister was born in 81, so she was probably 2. And me and my older brother were taken by some neighbors, probably some of my parents, would get us out of their hair for a little bit. But Octopussy, great soundtrack, by the way. This, to me, Octopussy is one of the top tier John Barry soundtracks. So, yeah. Video game wise, I always have something. Here's a weird one. If you look in comic books in 1983, especially, I don't know if they were advertised anywhere else, but I'm a comic book nerd too. Surprise, surprise. If you look in 83 comics, there are a lot of ads for Octopussy on the Atari, a game they advertised, but was never released. They did release a game in 83 called James Bond 007 on the Atari, but they never released Octopussy, which is weird because the advertisements even had screenshots of the game where Bond was fighting on a train. Not in the final release by Parker Brothers. I don't know why they abandoned Octopussy, but they did. All right, in the chat. Yes, Bionic Brother. Whoever owned this VHS collection respected their media. They are rewound. Jim the Joe Junkie, welcome to the chat. He's my VHS buddy, my G.I. Joe buddy. He's my buddy. I love Jim the Joe Junkie. He says his first Bond, and he's got a sealed copy for me. I think we're talking Octopussy. My first theater Bond too, my friend. and I'm so excited. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned, because I didn't update the spreadsheet. Now I have 10 copies of Octopussy, and it sounds like, thanks to Jim, who I will be seeing in January, I'm going to have 11. So, speaking of Never Say Never Again being a remake of Thunderball, here's Thunderball. Nice, nice. These are all in good shape, by the way. Very pleased with this box. So there's Thunderball. How do I do a video game fact for this one? They never did a Thunderball video game. I will tell you that I now have 13 copies of Thunderball, one of my higher bonds. No video game, but board game. There's a cool board game that you can get from when it came out in the 60s. Comes with little plastic frogmen and everything. That's really neat. My co-host on a lot of the Bond stuff, Alan Porter, often credits that board game with what piqued his interest in James Bond. So no video game, but yes to board game. I was about to say I don't think I have a copy of it, but I actually think I do. I think I used shopgoodwill.com, same place I got these videotapes. I think that's where I bought the board game. I need to bust that out. I haven't really fooled with it, I think, since I bought it. Anyway, back to the bin, or the box, as it were. Spy Who Loved Me. Can't go wrong. And yeah, Bionic Bros absolutely right on Thunderball. He said underwater sequence is pretty good, pretty great for the time. Absolutely. Like I said, I think that's what unless something changed in recent years, I think the only Bond movie to win an Academy Award was Thunderball for special effects, thanks to all that really cool underwater photography. All right, Spy Who Loved Me, Roger Moore. Some people say it's his best. I call this, and I don't mean this as an insult, this is the most cookie cutter James Bond movie ever made. Not an insult, not a dig on it. I love it. I love it for that. It came out after Man with the Golden Gun, which kind of did iffy at the box office. You know, they were trying to really make Roger Moore a thing. This is his third movie. And on this one, it really felt like their game plan was like, what are the most Bondy Bond of Bond tropes we can put in here and make it all in one movie? And bam, they made a good one. It's fantastic. Marvin Hamlish takes over for the score. He does that great Bond 77. Got the great opening scene where Bond skis off the cliff, kicks off his skis as he's falling, pops the Union Jack parachute. That's an all-timer. That's an all-timer. That moment, that exact moment, happens in the Tomorrow Never Dies video game on PlayStation 1 near the beginning. I think it's level 1 where you're in the ski scene. And I was fortunate enough to interview one of the producers and writers of that game just last week, where he told me they on Tomorrow Never Dies, the game, they'd made a list of all these great moments in Bond that they wanted to get in there. One of them was the ski jump scene from Spy, and they were able to put that in the game. So you can actually play that scene, that moment from Spy Who Loved Me in the Tomorrow Never Dies video game, which is weird, but why not, right? And oh yeah, Bionic Bros, absolutely right. Underwater car chase, so much cheesy goodness. And oh, by the way, there was a Spy Who Loved Me computer game in the 80s by Domark. This is during the Domark license holding time. And it was a top-down, very spy hunter kind of game. So yeah, that is a computer game that exists. And Bionic Bro helped me remember that because you drive the Lotus. One of the funny things about that game is, yes, you drive the Lotus, and then of course you go first, it's on the road, and then you get to the docks where you think you're gonna poop into the water, but the game coders actually didn't do that. It wouldn't even been tough code to just make it transition into the water, but they actually stopped the game as you're driving down the pier, and then they start the next level and you're in the water. It's like everybody wanted to see the car go into the water. Guys, you could have dropped that little bit of code. Anyway, it was an 80s computer game. And that's, you know what? As much as I've dug into Bond games, Bionic Bra asks a good question. Spy Hunter was supposed to be a 007 game, wasn't it? Or is that a conspiracy? My answer is I don't know. I haven't dug deep into Spy Hunter lore yet. I'm going to. It's not one I've gotten to yet. I don't know if it was ever supposed to be. It would make sense. I'll get back to you. Still a fantastic game. All right, pulling the next one out. Diamantes por siempre. Diamonds are forever. Connery's last Eon Bond, still more fun than it has any right to be. A great 70s Bond in Las Vegas. I've been blessed to have done a couple of James Bond conventions as well. One of my fondest memories at a Bond convention was at SpyCon in Atlanta a few years ago, where the actress who played, was it Bambi or Thumper? Thumper. The actress who played Thumper, Trina Parks, was there, as was the actress who played Plenty O'Toole. And they did a special dinner where I got to go. And I got a great seat because I was kind of like between the two of them. So I got to hear a bunch of awesome stories from some Bond girls. Diamonds Are Forever. There is a little Diamonds Are Forever video game connection since I'm doing this on this stream. One of the levels in the 007 James Bond game on Atari in 1983 was a Diamonds level. I think you drive the lunar vehicle on that one. No, I think you're attacking the oil rig at the end. That's what it was. Sean asks in the chat, do you have any Spanish language Bond tapes? I have some German Bond DVDs in my collection. No, I have 2 Bond DVDs, French version, technically from Canada, that were gifted to me. And the only Spanish language VHS I have is in my Batman collection. I have Batman Forever Spanish language version, and I can't wait to watch it. I have to know what a dubbed Jim Carrey sounds like as the Riddler. I have to know. Let's see. Scott, welcome to the chat, buddy. Scott says, I never read a James Bond book or seen a James Bond movie. I've never read you've never seen a Bond movie? Scott, the hell, man. You'll get to it. Spent 42% of his childhood playing James Bond video games on the N64. You got to start somewhere, Scott. I encourage you. And you played some good ones. Yes, GoldenEye, Agent Under Fire, Nightfire, quality stuff, man. Those are good games. Good games. Yeah, you guys got your own chat going on down there. I love it. Yes. All right, time to pull out another one. We're getting there, folks. Here is. Got to fix the box on this. I'm going to fix the box on Dr. No. Sometimes I get that little bend, so when you put the tape in, it pushes it up. Anyway, it is Dr. No, very first of the Eon Bond films, the first to go to the big screen. I almost messed up and didn't do my spreadsheet. All right, we know I did Thunderball. Yes. Spy Who Loved Me, I did not capture on my spreadsheet. I got to go back. I now have 4 copies of Spy Who Loved Me, and I got to add diamonds. I now have 8 copies of diamonds. All right, Dr. No. I'll go ahead and update the spreadsheet so I don't have to remember. 7 copies of Dr. No. Don't think Dr. No, any adventures of Dr. No show up in video games, except, there's always an except, in GoldenEye Rogue Agent under the EA era of Bond games, which, just a quick aside, I think gets pooped on because it has the name GoldenEye in it, and it was nothing like GoldenEye on N64. I think people didn't like it because of that, but it has an incredibly interesting story. In that story, you play a 00 agent who has a failed mission against Dr. No. Dr. No literally defeats you and shoots you in the eye, which gets replaced by a bionic eye that is gold. That's why you are known as Agent GoldenEye in that game. By the way, the guy who makes the golden eye for you is Scaramanga, and Christopher Lee actually does his own voice in that game. And you are basically kicked out of MI6, so you become one of the bad guys. You start working for Auric Goldfinger, who is squaring off in a criminal enterprise against Dr. No, so Dr. No becomes your main villain for a good chunk of the game, GoldenEye Rogue Agent. So there is your Dr. No video game connection. Can't be stopped, folks. I can't be stopped. I saw Sean say something about going thrifting tomorrow. Yeah, he's going thrifting tomorrow. There's a place that has a lot of VHS tapes. You want me to grab Bond tapes if I find them? If you like, sir. Again, my only rule is they have to be price point $3 or less. And since I'm going to have to reimburse you for shipping as well, probably, $1 a piece or so on your end. So if you find something around $1 or so, keep me in mind. Sure. You can by all means add to my collection. I wouldn't complain one bit. Thank you for that, sir. All right. Live and Let Die. Roger Moore's original outing. Once again, VHS, wonderful. Absolutely, yes, Sean. 50 cents each. Buy them all day. Jim had a follow-up question. Wait, a Bond game. Someone goes rogue. Say this. It's funny. It's funny. I get that. I get it. He's making James Bond going rogue jokes. It's the entire Craig era. All right. Live and Let Die. Great, great Bond flick. By the way, just VHS fun knowledge for you. There's no mass-produced Daniel Craig VHS. The VHS era ends at exactly where the Brosnan era ends. Brosnan's last movie was Die Another Day. It is the last mass-produced VHS. I don't know if I have one in here. I guess we'll find out. It's the last mass-produced VHS Bond movie. Craig never had a VHS release. He was a DVD guy. Anyway, Live and Let Die, Roger Moore. There is a Live and Let Die video game. It's kind of an odd duck. It is also a Domark game, so it's from the 80s. It was on computers, Commodores and ZX Spectrums and that kind of thing. And the weird thing about it is it's just a reskin. It was a boat racing game called Aqua Blast, I think. And Domark basically said, hey, let's take Aqua Blast, put a James Bond skin on it. Live and Let Die, boat racing. So they made it a little bit Bondy with some of this and that, but it's based on the Aqua Blast computer game. Let's see. Jim says, if you don't have one, there's a good chance I've got one I just picked up. Oh, of Die Another Day. And no, I don't. There is no Die Another Day in here. I mean, I do have some Die Another Day. Don't get me wrong. I need to put Live and Let Die on my list before I move on. Live and Let Die. I now have 8 copies. And I currently own 3 copies of Die Another Day on VHS. Jim. If you have some from your lot, though, I won't be mad. All right. For Your Eyes Only. 1981. My favorite Roger Moore film of them all. Great flick. Very much enjoyed. Seen it about 1 million times on HBO as a kid. Really love For Your Eyes Only. I think it's fantastic. Video Game Connection. Drawing a blank on this one. This one might not appear in... I'm trying to remember the 3 games that are... There's 3 games, I think, referenced in the Atari one. Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker, and something. Let's see here. I might be able to solve this kind of quickly. I have a little cheat sheet here. There we go. I knew it was ringing a bell. Okay. So the James Bond Atari game that came out in 83 has levels that have an element of Diamonds Are Forever, Moonraker, Spy Who Loved Me, and on some systems, like the bulkier, meatier ones, I want to say that's like the Amstrad computer version, there's a For Your Eyes Only level. That's what it was. So he does appear in a... It's hard to play For Your Eyes Only because not only do you have to have James Bond 007 by Parker Brothers, but it has to be, I think it's the Amstrad or Commodore 64 versions. Possibly the Amiga. One of those PC versions, or maybe a couple of them. Higher end computers of the 80s, you could get that extra For Your Eyes Only level. My boy Sean says For Your Eyes Only is a favorite. Is his favorite Bond flick. Nothing wrong with that, man. That is top tier for me. Like, it's in my top 5. Easy. I think when we officially ranked them on Honor Majesty's Secret Podcast, each of us hosts revealed our ranks, and we did an aggregate. I think I had it at number 4 on my list. Highly regarded amongst all of us. Good flick. All right, 3 more left. I did update that on my spreadsheet. Yes, for your eyes only. I don't think I did. No, I didn't. All right, for your eyes only. 9 copies. Now, 9 copies are for your eyes only because I'm a freaky weirdo. Okay, back to Goldfinger. Let me go ahead and get the copy number up. I now have an even dozen copies of Goldfinger in my VHS collection. Goldfinger. Something of the gold standard of James Bond movies. A lot of people love, is their number 1. It is in my top 5. Love it. Basically, it's the first time they had the full Bond formula nailed down with the whole pre-title sequence, theme song, gadgets from Q. Everything comes together in Goldfinger. From Russia with Love is very, very close. Has the pre-title. But the weird thing about From Russia with Love is you have the pre-titles, and then over the titles is just the Bond is back instrumental, and then the song From Russia with Love plays over the end credits. This is the first time. I mean, it had Shirley Bassey singing the bombastic song, you know. Anyway, Goldfinger, fantastic, top tier. Connery, some say number 1 Connery. Wouldn't fight anybody who said that. I think it's probably my number 1 Connery as well, although I like From Russia with Love a whole. I mean, I like them all, but video games. You again, I mentioned Auric Goldfinger is in Rogue, GoldenEye Rogue Agent, and there is a Goldfinger level on 007 Legends, where you fight at Fort Knox. That was kind of fun. And for those of you who are into video game modding, the modding community got a hold of GoldenEye on N64, and there's a complete and total N64 game you can get from the modding community called Goldfinger 64. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah, they actually made an entire Goldfinger game. I think they ended up making, I don't remember how far along they are now, but I think they're close on a Spy Who Loved Me 64 and a Living Daylights 64. But Goldfinger, I think they're done on that. That's kind of cool. So for those of you who loved GoldenEye 64, you want to go do some digging out in the computer world, check out Goldfinger for the Nintendo 64. It is a thing. All right, 2 more to go. Let's go with closest one to me. Oh, they packed this one in tight. There we go. The World Is Not Enough. The World Is Not Enough. I now have 11 copies. And it definitely got its own game release. All right. I always have some weird fun fact about this. Let's talk about The World Is Not Enough video game. It came out on the N64, the PlayStation 1, and I can't remember if it was a Game Boy Color or a Game Boy Advance. I'm going to look that up real quick using my cheat sheet. World's Not Enough, Game Boy Color. So here's the weird thing about it. Okay, obviously for the Game Boy Color, this is no surprise. Game Boy Color game is very different than the PS1 game and the N64 game. Here's the thing. The N64 game and the PS1 game, 2 different developers. They are 2 different games. So, yeah, you can actually play The World Is Not Enough 3 different ways. PS1 is different from N64, is different from Game Boy Advance. Is that what I said? Color. Game Boy Color. All 3 different. So you get a 3-for-1 if you want to play some World Is Not Enough. Next logical question you might have is, which version is considered the best? The N64 version is considered the best one. Although the PS1 version uses actual cutscenes and stuff from the movie. So you're going to get a sort of a graphical bump, especially in cutscenes, because they're from the DVD. So it's just sort of lower quality DVD, but it's still better than what you can get in N64. But most people, I think, like the gameplay a little better on N64. But there's your video game fun about The World's Not Enough. Scott asks about Connery in the chat. He says, is it better than Connery's turn as the Green Knight in the Sword of the Valiant? Nothing is better than the Green Knight in the Sword of the Valiant. Come on, man. I love that movie, but I unashamedly love that movie. All right, last but not least. From Russia with love. Fine Connery piece. Again, it competes with Goldfinger hard for my number one Connery movie. I love it. Let me update my spreadsheet before I start running my mouth and forget. So that will make From Russia with Love. I now have 5 copies. And as we mentioned before, that is my last one. The box is now emptied. As we mentioned, my total for James Bond on VHS with this last one is now at 158 Bond VHS cassettes. Just before I finish up with From Russia with Love, some of my oddballs. I actually have one VHS cassette of Casino Royale 1954 because James Bond's first screen appearance was on television for the TV show Climax. I think it was a CBS show in 1954, and I have the VHS tape of that. I also have a VHS tape of the movie Spy Maker, which is a movie about Ian Fleming. And in that movie, he's played by Jason Connery, Sean Connery's son. True story. And I have a VHS tape of Goldfinger and Thunderball bonus material behind the scenes. So those are my oddballs. Oh, wait. And I also have one copy of Casino Royale 1967, which I'm not proud of. But we all know how I feel about that movie. But I have it. All right. From Russia with Love. That's the last one in my 16-piece VHS set that I got from shopgoodwill.com for the low price of $24. That included shipping. Fine film, and your video game connection it got its own video game. From Russia with Love was the last video game under the EA license, and it sold pretty well, and most people were excited about it because Sean Connery returned to the role of James Bond and voiced the character in the game. And because I can't give you enough additional fun facts, he voiced did all his game lines and all that stuff. They brought recording equipment to his home in the Bahamas. He lived in the Bahamas most of the time. And so they came to him and he did all his lines, and the sound engineers were like, great. And they went back to their hotel, the next day to tweak and listen and all that stuff. And they realized that something had gone wrong in the recording and they had lost everything. They had to go hat in hand to Mr. Connery the next day and be like, we lost everything. And he could have said, hey, you paid me for this recording day. That's on you. Nice guy that he is, though. He re-recorded everything the second day for free. So that was nice of him. Sean, still talking about Sword of the Valiant chat, says it stars O'Keefe. How much? Keefe Miles O'Keefe. I love the Mystery Science Theater joke. Yes, sir. Oh, we made it. 48. I got 48 minutes out of 16 VHS tapes. Thank you guys who joined the chat for making it interesting for me. So mad props to the Bionic Bruh. I think it's your first time I've ever seen you in the chat, unless you go by some other name. So thanks for stopping by. You were awesome, Bionic Bruh. I'd love to see you in more Longbox Crusade chats. Give us a follow there on YouTube if you would. We have a great chat community, and I think you'd fit in nicely. Sean, you've shown up before. I appreciate you. Scott, you're a classic staple. And Jim the Joe Junkie, I think this was your first time. I couldn't even finish the joke. Yeah, Jim, Scott, Sean, you guys are repeat offenders, and I appreciate you guys being here. It's so much more fun when I get to play off what you guys have to say. I mean, I'm gonna make the videos regardless, but but I appreciate it. I see someone dropped a like already too. Thank you for that. This has just been one of those random pop-ups. Oh, Bionic Bruh says he's a follower and he's usually a fly on the wall. Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad that you came off the wall and into the chat. If you've ever monitored the chat before, we have such a great group. I love the chat so much. And I think you're a valuable addition. So thank you for stopping by. Anyway, yeah, I spaced out for a second. This is just one of our weird pop-up shows. We have a scheduled show. I haven't officially put the schedule and the links and all that stuff out. I will do that tomorrow, but we will be here on Sunday at 3:30. Jim, if you want to stop by for that, we're going to be doing a Let's Build. I can't remember if you were in on that or not, but if you need a link or whatever, you know how to get a hold of me. So if you want to do any like custom Joe work at 4:30 your time on Sunday, join us here. Kathy will be here. Matt Paso will be here. I will be here. We all just build something random. I have just off screen here. I can't quite reach it. I'm just going to point at it as if you can see it. I have a couple of these little MTV knockoff Lego sets. One of them's a small boombox. The other's a small cassette. I'm going to build one or both of those on Sunday. I'm not sure what Kathy's building. I'm not sure what Matt's building. I'm not sure if Jim's even going to be here. But that is a scheduled live stream, 3:30 Central Sunday, right back here on this channel. So if you're bored on Sunday afternoon and you're like, man, go chat with these guys while they build stuff, we'll be here. Other than that, man, I really appreciate you guys being here. You guys are awesome. And I am going to get on up out of here. Before I do that, I'm going to do the plugs. Longbox Crusade is everywhere. X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky. You go search Longbox Crusade. You're going to find us. We'd love a follow. We'd love to hear more than anything else. We love your feedback. So people in the chat, thank you so much. Give our shows a listen. Stop by, say hello. We have a Crusaders Club. Shoot, I even have fancy banners for all this stuff. We have a Crusaders Club. That's our Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/longboxcrusade for as little as $1 a month, you can join that. And we release exclusive stuff there. We have exclusive live streams just for club members and things like that. We'd love to have your business over there, but we understand financial times are tough. So that's just, if you're feeling it, go on over there, drop $1 a month if you like, and we'd love to have you. And if not, just enjoy our shows, and that makes us happy too. Lastly, I gave you the Longbox stuff. The stuff about me. I'm at Yard Sale Artist, X, Facebook, and Instagram. If you want to follow me personally, follow my art drawings, my musings, and what movies I'm watching. Especially on X. I'm very active on X. I'm mildly active. Mostly just art stuff on Instagram and Facebook. But if you want all the weirdness, X is where I spend a lot of time. So that's it. Thanks again for being here and talking James Bond stuff with me. You guys are the coolest. And until next time, I'm going to freeze. And you have a great night too, Bionic Bro. Oh, before I go, Scott, if you're still there, he did ask a question about our Best Under 5 show. Did you miss it? No, you didn't miss Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. We were going to do that as the Best Under 5 for this month on the first Sunday of the month. But it was Chris's pick, and Chris couldn't make it, so we shifted it to Carnosaur. We talked Carnosaur on the first Sunday of this month. We were going to punt Stop or My Mom Will Shoot to the first Sunday in December, but we decided to do a Christmas version. We are doing Santa Jaws, which is flipping fantastic, by the way, for our December episode. So look for Stop or My Mom Will Shoot first Sunday in January. Hope you were still on for that, Scott. If not, then I just talked to the ones and zeros of the internet. For real this time, I'm going to act froze. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll catch you later.